It was a bug right there. So the reason why the sun and Mars does so well in the first house, when it comes to, the fifth house, certain houses, are lighter. They're light, they're fun. So the experiences that you're going to have when you're transiting those houses are going to be pretty easygoing, okay? But when you go through certain transits like the 8th house, the 12th house, especially when it's planets like Saturn, Pluto, the 4th house, which is highly emotional and sensitive, right? When you have these heavy transits like the 8th house, and you have a planet like Saturn, which takes like 2 years to transit each sign, 2.5 years, you can get lost in those transits. And by lost, I mean feel overtaken with depression. When it comes to the fire houses, anxiety, the 12th house, where you're just feeling like you don't have a grasp of life, like you are literally out of control. Where you literally feel like you're out of control of your life, okay, with Saturn, especially with Saturn is transiting Pluto. Jupiter expands everything. So when you have Jupiter transiting a house like the 8th house, if you have a lot of shadow work that you need to get done and you're not aware of, that you're going through a transit so that you can prepare yourself, or let's just say you don't have the resources to prepare yourself, such as like the 12th house, this is a transit that really we should be taking time in seclusion and going on retreats when you have Saturn transit in your 12th house. It's not good to be out in the public in the light when you have a Saturn transit in your 3rd house. So when you can lack the resources, when you're going through certain transits, okay? And even with the 12th house, it's the self-undoing, self-sabotage, okay? So when you have the sun and Mars on your ascendant in your 1st house, this means that when you go through those tough transits, once you are complete with that transit, you will be able to come back to yourself, okay? You will be able to transform yourself, all right? Just like I said, it's transference or transform, okay? So you're going to be able to, heal, regenerate, self-regenerate. You will be able to allocate the resources so that you can recenter yourself and get, in other words, get your life back together, okay? But when you have like other planets and you're on your ascendant, like for instance Venus, the moon, these feminine planets where they are relating, okay, but relating to the external world, especially Venus. Venus is about relating, compromise. So dang. So Venus is about relating and compromise and giving and receiving, right? So you don't want to compromise yourself. You could compromise like items and things like that, but when you go to compromise yourself, you lose yourself, okay? So when you have the sun and a masculine planet like Mars, you're able to keep some type of footing on your identity when you go through those transits, okay? Because you can really get lost in those transits, in some of the experiences that you're going to experience with like the 8th house, your Scorpio house. When you're going through these transits and you don't have a powerful ascendant or an ascendant lord, because even if you're ascendant, like whatever planet is in your 1st house, if that planet is compromised, okay, say it's a square from an outer planet, which blurs things, it blurs boundaries, okay? So when you have your, but say you have a powerful ascendant lord, okay, so that's just like backup, okay? That's backup. So you'll go through, if you have, like for instance, Venus on your ascendant. So let's just say you have a Venus in Aries, okay? In the 1st house. So if you have Venus in Aries in your 1st house, who rules Aries? Your ascendant lord will be Mars, okay? So say Mars, is in the sign of Scorpio, okay? Where Venus will get overly romantic, be dealing with people passionately, just dealing with people, no type of long-term, no type of understanding of the long term. It's just here and now, right now. with Aries, okay, here and now. And that's fine with certain things, you know, but when it comes to Venus, you don't want Venus, you know, Venus has to learn how to get with the program. That it's not about here and now with relationships, because you can here and now your ass ready to the worst situation, okay? So with Mars, and you have Mars in Scorpio, then you're gonna have backup. So where Venus will want to jump into something, they jump into it. Mars will be manifesting situations to where you're gonna have to think more strategically. And these are situations that you're attracting, okay? I don't subscribe to the whole Anunnaki and, you know, all of these things outside of ourselves, aliens, and I subscribe to a self-empowerment. Okay, of course we have spirit guides, we have God, you know, we have heavenly beings. However, when it comes to the driving seat, you are in the driving seat of your ascendant, okay? You are in the driving seat. So even when it comes to Saturn, okay, Saturn is the karmic planet and things like that, but despite it all, you understand that you have to take the responsibility for whatever Saturn got, wherever your Saturn is. It's not just Saturn out there, you know, waiting to punish you like some type of prison warden or judge or something. It's like, no, your actions are going to play out, and then you're going to get a reaction. And more on that when we get to the 7th house. I'm just trying to really drill in the significance of your ascendant. Like that, your ascendant is so significant. And individuals with Neptune on the 1st, squares to their ascendant, they don't understand this. Water ascendant signs, you know, air ascendant signs, where you can just be real ungrounded and scattered. I have a 1st house intercepted Aquarius, okay? But my Saturn is in Sag in the 10th house, and this is exactly what I'm doing right now, okay? So when you have that ascendant, strong ascendant, then this means that you're going to be able to always protect yourself, regenerate yourself. You're going to have a strong body, a powerful mind, okay? So these are all significators that you have a strong ascendant. Your body, typically if Mars is on your ascendant, you're going to work out. You know, when the sun is on your ascendant, you're going to be up, you're going to be active, you're going to be out there getting to it, all right, when the sun is on your ascendant. It's not going to be a lot that can stop or get in your way, okay? Some ascendants are more prone to things like depression. You know, when you have the moon in Scorpio on your ascendant. The moon falls in the 1st house and in Scorpio. The moon doesn't do well in Aries and Scorpio. Those are Martian planets. The moon wants to nurture and care and these things. Mars is about war and fighting and getting what's mine. So when you have like a sign like Scorpio on your ascendant, you have the moon there, you know, these are real life manifestations that you're going to be manifesting in your life. You know, so until you can get with your energy and break the patterns, you know, that are not favorable, and it's not easy. It's not easy, okay? Especially with some transits and some alignments. You know, with the moon, in the 4th house Scorpio, you are dealing with ancestral stuff. With a lot of this stuff that you're dealing with is not even yours. You inherited a lot of these things. You know, with Scorpio in the 4th house. You know, when you have Cancer in the 10th house. You know, with Saturn. And conjunct the moon. Saturn conjunctions to the moon. Saturn conjunctions to Venus. Saturn squares. These are all aspects okay, so when you have so that is it with the 1st house, okay? I'm just making that very clear. All right, the 1st house is you, is your projection, is your starting point, okay? Not the Anunnaki, not aliens. You will hear me say that because so many people, when they get into this information, you know, go off, just get led astray and into disempowering systems. Astrology is meant to be an empowering system, okay, that empowers us. And that is spirituality, is individuality. And that's what the 1st house is, the spirit. Okay, that's the 1st house. That's being like excited about life. You know what I'm saying? And even when you're going through hell, having enough wherewithal within the self to wake up every single day, one foot in front of the next, okay? having a sense of independence and self-reliance on yourself, okay? These are all aspects of the first house, okay? So we're going to start with Aries and Libra. And I have a few videos on Aries and Libra, okay, and the games that Aries and Libra play. But I just want to reiterate that the first house, so if it's Aries, this is what you're projecting, okay? So when you are projecting, you know that just Saturn is exalted in Libra. You're going to receive a reflection. You're going to receive your reflection, okay? And this is what your feedback. Your feedback. So having a powerful projection, that means you're going to have powerful feedbacks, okay? You're going to have a sustainable feedback, okay? But it starts with the first house, okay? So we're going to get into Aries and Libra, and throughout the series I'm going to add in information about the planets, when planets are in the first house. Most of those I'm going to do in memes, so that you can start getting a feel of, you know, so the houses, these are like the movie scenes. The planets are like the characters, okay, that we're using within the scenes of the house. So if it's the fifth house, it's romance, fun, you know. So if you have Venus going to your fifth house, then that character within you, those characteristics within you are going to pop out, and you're going to feel more creative. You're going to want to have fun. You're going to want to, it's not spooky, it's just energy, okay? It's not spooky, it's just energy, all right? So I will talk to y'all soon. Let me know, what is your ascendant? What's your ascendant sign? And what house is your ascendant Lord? Bye.